Alright, now obviously you guys can see that I'm up and ready to go riding today because I have my helmet on, and, you know, according to the laws of squidding, I only need a helmet to go riding today. Actually, no, none of that's going to happen because it's Ohio and it's 45 degrees out and storming right now, so yeah, it's not going to happen. And on top of that, my bike's been in the shop for the past week, so I can't really do anything about that anyways. But today I figured I needed a reason to test my new vlogging camera out, so I figured why not take it to State 8 Motorcycles, where I will go ahead and buy a filter and some oil for my buddy's Ninja 1000 SX and vlog the oil change and the process of getting the oil and whatever. I know it's boring, but you know, hey, I need a test video for something.
Yeah, no, this is not happening today. Not happening at all. Beautiful Ohio midday. I love it. I absolutely love it. I can't wait for it to be summer because, dude, I have been waiting to ride every day for the past, ever since winter started. I can't handle it, man. Alright, man, I really wanted to make a riding vlog today, but obviously, you know, there are some restrictions here. Yeah, like I said, the weather sucks, and also, the sucky part is, the bike is only in the shop right now because they're waiting on O-ring seals for the cam lobes, and I don't really know exactly why, but I guess FedEx lost their package a while ago, so they decided to just order it from Amazon, so now we're waiting on the package from Amazon. Once those come in, the shop will actually be able to put them in, and then I'll have the bike back. Finally, after almost a month of waiting. And I guess for the sake of an explanation, I ride a super old bike. It's a 2002 Kawasaki ZX6R. It's the first gen 636, and I took it in initially for a valve clearance adjustment, which, by the way, if you own a motorcycle, you should always make sure it's done, or if you don't know if it's done, go get it done. It's a very, very important maintenance item that a lot of people with motorcycles tend to overlook. Beyond the point, I took it in for that, and it was also leaking oil into the spark plug wells, which I gave the shop the gaskets to go fix that, but I guess there's another set of 4 gaskets that are at the bottom of the camshaft that need to go into the spark plug tubes to prevent any oil from getting in them. Now, those gaskets are the ones that they've been waiting on for about a week and a half, henceforth why the service has been taking so long. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my old bike and it's amazing, and you know, I love riding old bikes, mostly because I'm broke and can't really afford anything brand new, which is what we're about to see at this dealer, but also because I feel like older bikes just, they have a lot of character, you know? Now, maybe that's just a little bit of cope on my part, but I mean, all in all, I love the bike and I have a lot more of an emotional connection with that machine than any of the other bikes I've owned in the past. And you know, pulling up to State 8, and every time I do pull up to State 8, makes me so jealous because now I'm 19 for reference. I see kids younger than me walk out of here with brand new ZX6Rs or an R, you know, actually they discontinued the R6, so, you know, any type of R6 in the, you know, 2010 to 2020 range. Now, granted, of course, they didn't pay cash, probably, and they, you know, got the whole 9 yards of the 35% APR with 0% down, but still, I get jealous because, my shit doesn't run right. Let's see, like this right here, little Aprilia ZX14, some sort of MT, I don't know what kind, another ZX14. Now, this bike is pretty nice. It's an RSV4. I've heard a lot of good things about these, but man, they're expensive and they break a lot. So, not for me. Alright, so we got our oil and my filter here. A nice little dealer run to go check out some bikes for a second. I would have recorded more inside, but you know, I feel like it was awkward to kind of talk to myself with as many customers as there were in there, so, you know, didn't want to do that. And now we're going to be on the way to my buddy's house to go finish up this oil change, and I guess that'll be the end of what I'm doing today. Alright, y'all, there she is. This is his Ninja 1000 SX. So you can see we got everything set up right here. We got the oil, the filter, some socket kits, place to drain the oil in, an oil filter socket claw thingy, and then his family was nice enough to get me a Sprite Zero and some homemade granola bars with some paper towels. So this process is pretty simple. It's not too hard to do. Still pretty chilly out, but I think we could absolutely manage. The first thing that I usually try to tell people is that you kind of want to start the bike and run in little bits of the oil, which is a very usually thick consistency of oil, especially in these bikes, gets a little bit warmer, and so that way you can kind of let it drain out more proficiently, if that makes sense. Dude, that sounds so good. Despite it being a sport touring, it's still a 1000cc motorcycle. You got to get you some friends that'll let you ride their 1000cc, man. That's what I'm talking about. When it comes to these 1000s, man, they're so deep, they gotta growl. And you never want to get it too hot, because otherwise you'll burn your hands off. I probably should be wearing gloves, but I think we'll be fine. Now, the worst part is I gotta be super careful because the oil filter is like right next to the exhaust, so that's gonna be a bit of an issue, but nothing that I cannot handle. And right here. Alright, oil filter's coming off. Now, I probably shouldn't have done this in my white Forces, because these things are going to get fucked up now. That's what looks to be the factory oil filter, which is, man, this thing is nasty. Now, here we got the new one. Now, this one, we just even take a side-by-side comparison. This thing looks way better. Now, anytime you put a new oil filter on, the first thing you want to notice is the old gasket and the old filter still there, which is that little black ring right here. Then you want to lubricate this with, I mean, usually people would say use new oil, but I use old oil sometimes. I guess it doesn't really matter. As long as this gasket's lubricated so that way it can go on effectively and not leak all over the place. You don't want to leak oil. That's pretty bad. Alright, with my hands all mucked up now and the oil filter is off and the new oil filter's on, all I got to do is drain the old oil out of the bike to get all the gunk and crap out from the break-in. There we go. So generally speaking, you also want to change out the crush washer, which is this little thing, and I got one, so you can pop a new one right on the ring. And somehow figure out a way to clean out your hands. Alright, now that I got that all done draining, we're going to come over here. And now all I got to do is fill the oil through this port right here. There we go. Now, the guy at the dealer told me that this bike takes about 3.8 quarts, which is essentially 4, but you got to be careful not to overfill these things because what happens is the oil ends up getting on the ends of the spark plugs and then you have fouling spark plugs and then a misfire. So yeah, it's usually a good idea to stay away from overfilling a bike. See exactly how much oil you've put in the bike based on this little oil window. Now obviously I'm not done filling it, so there's no oil showing up in the window, but once I do get it to a point where it does show up, you usually want to put it between the bottom tick mark and the top tick mark, and that's like the ideal method of filling. Alright, now since I got it filled, all I have to do is start the bike and let the oil kind of run through the motor, run through the filter, and then check the level again to see if there's any leaks. Alright, it doesn't look like it's leaking anywhere, and I'm pretty sure that concludes our little oil change.
Alright, now with all that being done, I think this is a perfectly good test vlog to see how my editing skills are as well as the quality of this camera. So if you were actually watching this whole thing, thank you. I get it. It was probably pretty boring, but, you know, well, thank you nonetheless, and hopefully in the future I can make a lot of better stuff, hopefully with a chin mount. I do have a camera for my helmet, just not a chin mount yet, so just got to give it some time, and hopefully I can make some really good content. Yep, I guess that's pretty much it.